This is going to be the last video that's based off of not my video, but the Eureka video that's in the description below the like button. So this code is pretty interesting. I found it to be the most interesting of the 4-hour Spring Boot full course, and it's how to secure applications using Spring Boot. Now, this didn't exactly work out, and I think it is because for some reason in their video they didn't include all of basically what they were doing, and so it was hard to piece together some of the things. I pieced together most of it, and I think I have it mostly able to work, but there are a few things that I'm unable to figure out. So the first is that we want to secure web application. So we'll start with a web application. We're going to make a new project. It's going to be a Spring Boot one, so we'll go into others, and then we want to do our Spring Boot, Spring Starter project, name it whatever you want. Our dependencies are going to be the following. We want Spring Security, Spring Web, and Spring Web Services. So first we will create a web application and then we will secure it. We're going to do this with HTML. So we're going to go into our SRC main resources, right click templates, new, and then we're going to go to other, and then in other we're going to type in HTML, and then we want some HTML files. So the first one that we're going to look at is home. So this is basically like our home page. What's going to happen when this opens up. So this is a title, welcome to computer engineering. This means nothing, it's just going to output in our console when this specific part runs. Now inside of our body, all of this is going to print out. So we have our center, welcome to computer engineering. I think this basically just centers our code or our text output in the middle of the page. And then we're just setting the background color of our page. So that's all that's doing. Next, inside of here, we have our H3, so it's like a line. We're setting our specific style, so we have our margin, and then this is minus to the left, 2.5, so this is just like styling it right here. And then we have a click, so I'm assuming, because I'm not 100% sure on this, we are clicking in, and then we have this part right here, and I'm not exactly sure what this specifically does, but I know because of these brackets, we have our @c login. So we're going to basically be printing our login right here. And then we're going to say click here to see the login. And we're basically just showing a C login right here where we could click it to see our login. So that is for our home. And so going into our C login, we have to code for that. So we're going to make a new, and then it's going to be a new HTML project, and it's just going to be titled C login, and it's going to look something just like this. So inside of here we have our body, we have like our body background color, this is just the color for it, and then we have our title right here, and what this specifically is doing is that we use line 12 to display the username of the Spring Security's integration with our servlet method. So we're saying hello and then the user's name, and we'll come back to this when we're getting to that point. We'll come back to exactly what this does, but this is just printing out a text, and this, because of the braces, is getting something right here. And this is from our HTTP servlet request. Inside of here we have a form where we can do a /logout, and this is going to be post, so it's going to update what we have. We have a type submit, so we can click submit since it's the type submit, not like type text or anything. So we click submit, and then the value is going to be log out, so it just is going to display log out here. But now let's go to our login. So for our login, this is all the possible things that we could have. We're going to want to, after we input our information, it's going to take us here. So once we put in our information, so if there is like an error right here, we have param.error, we're going to output this message. It's an error message. And then inside this next part, notice how we have our divs separating everything. We have our parameter.logout. We're just going to log the user out. And then for this next form, we have an @login, and I think these are like if statements and like actions. And we have /login. We have method equal to post, so post is just creating something. If we log in, we're creating this. We have our username, it's going to be of type text. We're going to store this in username. And then we have password, the type is password and their name is password. And then we have our type submit and the value is login. So this basically means we're going to have a submit button, but it's going to be called login, so we would just press it, and that is going to be how that would work. So it goes basically home, and then we'll log in, and then our C login, and then we're able to log out from here. Now we have to deal with securing this, so we're going to look to our controller. Making the controller in our com.example.demo, we also need to make a model and view controller. So we're going to make our two classes, right here. We're going to make another one also. So in the controller class, we're going to implement the web Mvc controller. So we'll come back to this in a second. In our web Mvc controller, the first two add view controllers reference to the home file, and the others are for the C login and login files. So this is just for our home, and then we have our login, and I'm assuming maybe the video didn't include it, but we were supposed to have one for C login as well. Now we have created the view for the user and controller, and now we have to configure security. So configuring this will automatically secure all of the HTTP endpoints and basic authentication. We need to add Spring Security to our class file, and we already did that in our dependencies when we created the project. After that, we need to create the Spring Security configuration class, which ensures only authenticated users will be directed to a specific page. To do this, we need to make a new class in our com.example.demo. This is the next one, which is our security configurer right here. So inside of here, it's going to be basically just like MVC configurer. It's looking like this. Inside of here, though, we are going to set up a bean, and I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it sets up an in-memory user store with a single user. So we're basically storing this user inside of memory right here, and then we're going to be returning this user. And that is going to be for our security configurer. Now back to our controller file, we're basically calling our homes, our C login, and login. And I think that is what I was referring to earlier about it video not including it. I think that's those notes were supposed to be for here. So the first two lines are for our home, and then we have C login and login right here, and this is supposed to configure that. But when we go to run it, so I will run it again, going to secure example, run as Spring Boot app, we're going to see it starts to run, but then it gives some errors, and I think it's something to do with the beans, maybe it's something to do with our ats, overrides, I'm not sure, but that is where I'm left at for this video, and I feel like I've understood a great portion of it, but it still doesn't work, and I would love to investigate this in the future.